Very, very good morning to all of you, my friends. Welcome back. I hope what you have revised what I have discussed in the previous session. Uh, we started with overheads, wherein we discussed the meaning of overheads. Thereafter, we discussed that what is the process of distribution of overhead, wherein we discussed the primary distribution, that is allocation, apportionment. Thereafter, we started with reapportionment, and in reapportionment, we discussed a few situations. So let's proceed further with the next part. Now, see, when talking about the reciprocal approach, that is the service department provides services to each other. That is, X is providing. Suppose there are two service department, X and Y. So X is providing services to Y, and Y is also providing services to X. So this is reciprocal approach. Herein we have already discussed two methods, that is simultaneous equation method and repetitive distribution method. So now let's start with the third method, that is trial and error method. I'll be referring the question of study material only for your reference. So I'm discussing question number 1 second. So I'm discussing illustration number 4. The first part is already over, where we are done with the primary distribution, that is allocation and apportionment. So now let's start with the second part, wherein we have to redistribute the overheads of the service department to the production department. So we have the final figures of the service department and production department. So let's start with illustration number 4, trial and error method. Now we have already calculated the total figures of service department X and Y. There were two service department X and Y. So we are done with the calculation of after primary distribution service department. There are two service department X and Y. And after primary distribution, we have got 4,75,000 for X and 5,35,000 for Y. Overheads after primary distribution. Again, I repeat, when talking about primary distribution, I'm talking about allocation and apportionment. So this part I've already covered in the previous session. So after the allocation and apportionment, we have got the final figure, that is 4,75,000. And for Y, we have got 5,35,000. Just 1 second, guys. So now, some information is given in the question that of service department X, 45% goes to A, 15% to B, 30% to C, and 10% to Y. And of service department Y, 5% goes to X, to A it is 60%, and to B it is 35%. So in short, when talking about X, they are providing 10% services to Y, and when talking about Y, they are providing 5% of the services to X. So now herein, when talking about trial and error method, we will only distribute the portion of the overheads that are distributed, to be distributed to the other service department. So let's start with apportionment of X. It is more or less like repeated distribution, but yes, the technique is a bit different. So let's apportion the overheads of X to Y. So when talking about X, 10% goes to Y. So of this 4,75,000, 10% will go to Y. So we've got 47,500. Of X, 10% will go to Y. So we'll get the total figure, that is 47,500, that will be distributed to Y. So now we'll get the total overheads of Y. This will be 5,82,500. Now we have got total overheads of Y. 5% will go to X. Just writing in short, 29,125. Now we have got the overheads of X. It will again 10% will go to Y. That is 29,125 into 10%. We'll get 2,913. So it is more or less like repeated distribution method, but yes, it's as compared to the repetitive distribution, it's comparatively easy and less time consuming. Again, from Y to X at the rate of 5%. So this will be 145. Once the figure is in 3-digit, you can just stop the distribution part and you can calculate the total overheads. So now this is how we have calculated the total overheads of X to be distributed to the production department, that is A, B, and C. And when talking about Y also, so from Y also we have got the total figure, that is the amount that is to be distributed to the production department. So now we have already calculated the overheads of X and Y, so we will distribute it to the various production department, that is A, B, and C. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your queries. Now this amount will be distributed to A, B, and C. We have the total overheads of production department A, B, and C after primary distribution. We have the total overheads of A, B, and C after primary distribution, that is 2,70,000, 3,70,000, and for C it is, I think, it is 6 lakh. So now let's distribute X and Y among A, B, and C. The total overheads are 504,271, and the percentage is given, that is, once again, 45, 15, and 30. So 226922. 15% goes to B, that is 75641, and 151281. Now the remaining 10% is already distributed to Y, so we have to ignore the 10% part. So 45% of 504271, 15% of 504271, and 30% of 504271. Similarly, department Y, when talking about Y, it goes to only A and B, that is 60 and 35%. So we have the total overheads, that is 585,413. It is 60% and 35%. So this is how we'll get the total overheads of A, B, and C. So 2,70,000, 226,922. So this will be 848,170. This will be 650,535. One second. So this will be 751,281. So this is the way you guys have to solve the question using trial and error method, wherein you have to consider only X and Y. First distribute X, then Y, then X, and then Y till the figure is still till the time, I mean, you get a 3-digit figure or 2-digit figure, whatever it is. Calculate the total overhead, and whatever the percentage, again, I'm not using the ratios, I'm using the percentage. So herein it was somewhat 45, 15, and 30. So the remaining 10% is already distributed to Y. So you have to ignore. And herein again, remaining 5% is already distributed to X. So you have to ignore this part. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your queries now. Anyone having any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. So when talking about a full-fledged question, wherein you have to do primary distribution and reapportionment. So the first thing is do primary distribution, that is either allocation or apportionment. Calculate the total overheads. Now, further check whether it is reciprocal or non-reciprocal. If it is reciprocal, you have to identify that which method the examiner is asking you to apply. If the question is silent, the best method I personally suggest is simultaneous equation method, less time consuming. And if you are thorough with the concept, then you will be able to solve the question quickly. Further, you use any of the three methods, whether it is simultaneous equation method, trial and error method, or repetitive distribution method, these answers will be the same. The final answer will be the same. That is, the total overheads of production department will be same if you use either of the methods. So we are done with the reciprocal approach. Now non-reciprocal. We use step method or step ladder. Now, let's say there are three production department A, B, and C, and three service department X, Y, and Z. Now, when talking about the percentage of distribution of X, Y, and Z, 20% goes to A, 20% to B, and 20% to C. Now, 15% goes to Y and 35% goes to Z. So this is how %25 goes to Z. When talking about Y, it is 60% to A, 10% to B, 10% to C. Now, Y is not providing services to X. Herein, Y is not providing services to X. It is providing services only to Z. That is 20%. And when talking about Z, it is 70%, 15%, and 15%. Z is providing services only to the production department. So X is providing services to Y and Z. Y is providing services to X. Y is providing services only to the Z. Again, apart from this, they are providing services to the production departments also. And when talking about Z, Z is providing services only to the production department. These are the production department and these are the service department. So herein, we'll use step ladder method to distribute the overheads. So herein, the service department which provide highest services to the other service department will be distributed first. So wherein, when talking about this method, the service department which provides highest services to the other service department will be distributed first. वो सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट जो सबसे ज्यादा सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा है दूसरे सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट को it will be distributed first. So herein, when talking about this question, see, X is providing to Y and Z. So X is providing to Y also and Z also. When talking about Y is providing only to the Z. And when talking about Z, it is providing services only to A, B, and C. So first we will distribute X, then we will distribute Y, and then we will distribute Z. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. So in short, what I want to say is that the service department which provide highest number of services to the other service department will be distributed first. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. So now let's start with the question on study material. So herein I'm discussing illustration number 2. I'm discussing illustration number 2. Suppose the expenses, I request you guys to please open your study material. I'm discussing illustration number 2, page number 4.20. Page number 4.20, illustration number 2. So suppose the expenses of two production department A and B and two service department X and Y are as under. So there are two production department, that is A and B, and two service department X and Y. They have given us the final figure, that is overheads after primary distribution. We have got the overheads after primary distribution, that is after allocation or apportionment. For A and B, it is 3 lakh and 3,20,000. And for X and Y, it is 2 lakh and 1,50,000. Now let's see the how much percentage of services. What's the percentage of service department overheads? What's the percentage of overhead that will be distributed to the various production department and service department? So when talking about X is providing services to A, B, and Y. But when talking about Y is providing services only to A and B. So herein there are only two service department, and it is clearly given that the X is providing services to A, B, and Y. But when talking about Y is providing services only to A and B. So it's very simple. So the service department which provide maximum services to the other department will be distributed first. So in this case, X will be distributed first and then Y. So when talking about the distribution of X, when talking about the distribution of X, 40% goes to A, 80,000 goes to A, 35% goes to B, and 25% goes to Y. So now we are done with the calculation of X, distribution of X, not distribution of Y. Now the total overheads of Y will be how much? 2 lakh. That is 1,50,000 plus 50,000. So 40% goes to A and 60% goes to B. So 80,000 and 1,20,000. So this will be 4,60,000. And this will be 5,10,000. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. If it is one more service department, it will go like this. So that's why we call it as step method or step ladder method. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. So now we are done with the second part of the chapter, that is allocation and apportionment and reapportionment. Now, all the hard work is over. Now, the last part is absorption of overheads. I repeat again, guys, we are done with the allocation, apportionment, reapportionment. In reapportionment, we were reapportioning the overheads of the service department to the production department, wherein we discussed few methods, that is direct redistribution method, simultaneous equation method, repetitive distribution method, trial and error method, and lastly step method. So all these methods are done. We are done with the distribution process. Now the next part is absorption of overhead. I mean, ultimately, our main motto is to calculate the absorption rate. So this process, distribution and redistribution, the end result is what? That we have to calculate the total overheads and then we have to calculate the absorption rate. Now, when talking about the concept of absorption, let's say I have two production departments, assembly and packing. These are my two production departments, that is assembly and packing. Now further, after allocation, apportionment, reapportionment, we have got the final figures. Let's say it is 5 lakh rupees for assembly overheads, 5 lakh for assembly, and 6 lakh for packing. Further, herein we have received a job order. Let's say we have received a job order number. Let's say we have received a job order and job order number is 0510. Now, when talking about the raw material that is used in this job, let's say the raw material used is 20,000. When talking about the labor hours, let's say total 1000 machine labor hours worked and they were paid at the rate 8 per hour. So the total labor cost is 8,000. Further, when talking about the direct expenses, let's say the direct expenses are 2,000. So 28 and 2, that is 30,000 are my total direct cost. 30,000 is what? My total direct cost, or we can say prime cost. Now, is this the total cost? No. Why? Because the overheads that are incurred as a whole is to be charged to this job to calculate the total cost. And the answer to this question is what? The absorption. That is, we have to calculate the absorption rate, and with the help of that absorption rate, we will charge the overheads of these two production departments to this job to calculate the total cost. Let's say further, machine hours are also given. And for this job, the machine hours worked were, let's say, 2,000 hours. Now, additional information is also given in the question in terms of labor hours and machine hours. Now, let's say labor hours are also given and machine hours. Total labor hours and machine hours are also given. Let's say it is 2 lakh and this is 3 lakh. The total labor and machine hours are also given, that is 2 lakh and 3 lakh. And further, it is clearly given in the question that the overheads of the assembly department are to be absorbed on the basis of labor hours, and the overheads of the packing department are to be absorbed on the basis of machine hours. The overheads of the assembly packing department are to be absorbed on the basis of machine hours. This information is already given in the question. I repeat again, guys, we have two production department, assembly department and packing department. The total overheads are given, that is 5 lakh and 6 lakh. We have received a job order number 0510, wherein the material cost is 20,000, the labor cost is 8,000, direct expenses are 2,000, and we have got the prime cost, that is 30,000. Now my question is this the total cost? No, this is not the total cost. To calculate the total cost, we have to charge the overheads of these two production departments to this job to calculate the total cost. So what we have to do is, we have to calculate the absorption rate, and accordingly we'll be able to charge the overheads of these two production departments to this job to calculate the total cost. Now, to calculate the absorption rate, the question has clearly specified that the overheads of the assembly department are to be absorbed on the basis of labor hours, and the overheads of packing department are to be absorbed on the basis of machine hours. So very simple. क्या basis पे absorption करना है वो भी given है. So let's calculate the absorption rate. So see, 5 lakh overheads for 2 lakh hours. 5 lakh overheads for 2 lakh hours. So for 1 hour, how much is the overheads? So 5 lakh. So this will be 2.5 per hour. So when talking about for every labor hour, 2.5 per hour are my overheads. Again, when talking about the packing, it is 6 lakh overheads for 3 lakh hours. So we'll get the absorption rate, that is rupees 3 per machine. So we have got the absorption rate that the overheads are 2.5 rupees per hour for every labor hour, and rupees 2 for every machine hour for the packing department. I repeat again, guys, for assembly department, the overheads are how much? 2.5 per labor hour, and for packing it is rupees 2 per machine hour. So now we know that how many labor hours we devoted for this job. In terms of labor, it is 1,000 hours, and in terms of machine, it is 2,000 hours. So now we can easily charge the overheads to this job. And in talking about assembly department, it will be on the basis of labor hours, that is 2.5 per labor hour. So the labor hours were 1,000. So 1,000 into 2.5. So we'll get 2,500. And for packing, It's absorbed on the basis of machine hour, that is rupees 2 per hour, and the machine hour worked for this job is 2000 hours. So 2000 into 2, that is 4000. So this will be 6500, and the total cost for this job will be 36,500. So this is just a single concept. It's a very simple concept when talking about absorption of overhead. The first step is what? Identify the basis of absorption. Identify the basis of absorption. Generally, किस basis पे overheads absorb होंगे? This information will always be given in the question. On what basis overheads need to be absorbed? This information will always be given in the question. So first of all, you have to identify the basis of absorption. Thereafter, you have to calculate absorption rate. Thereafter, you have to calculate absorption rate. And then last part, after calculating the absorption rate, that rate will be used to charge the overheads of the production department to a particular job or to a particular product to calculate the total cost. So absorption rate is used to charge the overheads of production department. Absorption rate is used to charge the overheads of production department to a job or a product to calculate total cost. So when talking about absorption, first identify the basis of absorption. This will always be given in the question. Once the basis is identified, we will calculate the absorption rate. So herein we have calculated the absorption rate. And once the absorption rate is calculated, absorption rate is used to charge the overheads of the production department to a job or a product to calculate the total cost. And this process is we have done here. So this is all what about absorption of overhead. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Further, those who want to copy this explanation can please copy. This is the concept, that is what is absorption and what's the, how to, what all steps need to be followed to calculate the absorption rate. Giving you 2 minutes time to copy. Further, there are various methods that are given in study material relating to absorption of overhead. What all can be the basis of absorption of overhead? So I'm just giving you a brief about what all can be the methods of absorption of overhead. 1 second. So the first, we can say it can be absorbed on the basis of material cost. The overheads can be absorbed on the basis of material cost. So here in total overheads divided by total material cost into 100, we will calculate it in percentage form. So total overheads divided by total material cost into 100, and accordingly we will use that percentage as the absorption rate, and we will charge the overheads to a particular job. Another way can be on the basis of prime cost. So again, the formula will be total overhead divided by total prime cost into 100, and that rate will be in percentage terms, and it will be used to charge the overheads to a particular job or product to calculate the total cost. Further, as discussed, it can be on the basis of labor hours, so total overheads divided by labor hours. It will not be in percentage form. Further, it can be on the basis of machine hours also, total overheads divided by machine hours. It can be on the basis of total units also, that is total overheads divided by total units. So these are the various methods, but in general, in most of the question, if you will find that overheads are absorbed mostly on the basis of labor hours or machine hours. Further, if the question is silent and total material cost is also available, total prime cost is also available, and labor hours are also available, so it is advisable to absorb the overheads on the basis of labor hours only or machine hours. So in short, if the question is silent, what will be the basis of absorption? Either on the basis of machine hours or labor hours. Further, if the question clearly states that you have to use this basis of absorption, then you have to follow the instructions that are given in the questions. So if you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. I'm done with the absorption part. For the formulas, that is total overheads divided by labor hour, total overhead divided by machine hour, total overhead divided by prime cost into 100, total overhead divided by material cost into 100. You can refer all these in the study material. So we are done with this part also. Now the most important part of the chapter, that is under or over absorption of overhead. Examiner do ask question frequently on this part, that is under or over absorption of overhead. One second. So now let's start with this concept under or over absorption of overhead. The most important part of the chapter. Examiner do ask questions frequently on this part. Now, when talking about this costing or cost calculation, it's based on estimated data, be it material cost, be it labor cost, be it overheads. All these in costing, we use the estimated data. So when talking about overheads also, we are using the estimated data. The labor hours or machine hours also, it's an estimated data. And the absorption rate, what we do calculate, is also an estimated rate, or we can call it as a budgeted rate or predetermined rate. So when talking about so in short, when talking about the absorption rate, what we do calculate, it is also an estimated rate, or we can say a budgeted rate or predetermined rate. Now, when the actual figures are out, actual results are out, or actual figures are out, the actual figures may vary from the overheads as per predetermined rate or budgeted rate. In fact, actual figure will always vary from the estimated figures. So what I want to say is that when talking about in terms of under or over absorption, so the actual overheads may vary from the overheads as per predetermined rate or budgeted rate. So the difference between the actual overheads and the overheads as per predetermined rate or budgeted rate is all what we call as under or over absorption of overhead. So I'm writing this for your reference. When talking about under or over absorption, When talking about if actual overhead vary from overheads as per absorption rate, or we can say predetermined rate or budgeted rate. So if actual overheads vary from overheads as per absorption rate, then it is under or over absorption. So as I said, actual overheads vary तो होंगे ही. किससे? The overheads as per predetermined rate. So the difference is what we call as under absorption or over absorption. Now, this term overheads as per predetermined rate, we can call it as absorbed overhead. The overheads as per predetermined rate is what we call as absorbed overheads. So what are absorbed overheads? The overheads as per predetermined rate, and actual overheads will always be given in the question. So the difference between the absorbed overheads and the actual overhead is what we call as under or over absorption of overhead. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. Again, this is a very important part. So here and there are two terms: under absorption and over absorption. Under absorption or over absorption. When talking about under absorption, if the absorbed overheads are less, if the absorbed overheads are less than actual overhead, we call it as under absorption. And if absorbed overheads are more than actual overheads, we call it as over absorption. So, अगर absorbed overheads कम है, under absorption. If अगर absorbed overheads ज़्यादा है, तो we call it as over absorption. Just think from this perspective, because you know students sometimes faces that it is under absorption or over absorption. So just try to memorize it with this way. If absorbed overheads are less, under absorption. If absorbed overheads are more, call it as over absorption. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your query. So when talking about what is under or over absorption, if the actual overheads vary from the overheads as per predetermined rate or budgeted rate, we call it as absorption rate. Then this difference is what we call as under or over absorption. Under absorption, over absorption, I have already explained. Let me discuss one example also. Let's say my budgeted overheads are given. Let's say 10 lakh. My labor hours are given. Let's say 2 lakh. My budgeted labor hour. My actual labor hours are 2,50,000. Now, my actual overheads are also given. In first case, let's say it is 15 lakh. And let's say in second case, it is 9 lakhs. Now you have to calculate the under absorption or over absorption of overhead. So my budgeted overheads are 10 lakh. My budgeted labor hours are 2 lakh. My actual labor hours are 2 lakh 50,000. And we have given a two situation wherein if the actual overheads are 1 lakh 50,000 and if the actual overheads are 9 lakh. Now you have to calculate under or over absorption of overheads. You have to calculate under or over absorption of overhead. Now, very simple, guys. When following the steps, the first step is what we call as the absorption rate. What is the absorption rate? As I said, if actual overheads vary from overheads as per absorption rate or predetermined rate, then it is under or over absorption. So we have to first calculate the absorption rate, that is budgeted overheads divided by budgeted labor hours. As I said, this costing is all what about estimated data. So this absorption rate is also we call as a budgeted rate. The overheads are estimated, the hours are estimated. So this absorption rate is also my budgeted rate or estimated rate. So absorption rate will be how much? 10 lakh will be my total overheads divided by 2 lakh will be my total hours. So this will be rupees 5 per. So first is the absorption rate or budget rate we have calculated. Now we have to calculate the overheads as per the absorption rate or predetermined rate. So the second point is what we call as absorbed overheads. For the hours we actually work, what should be my absorbed overheads? So here in actual labors are 2,50,000. We'll apply the absorption rate. So we will get the absorbed overheads, that is 12,50,000. So overheads as per predetermined rate or absorption rate is what we have got as 12,50,000. Now let's compare this with actual overheads. Let's compare this with actual overheads. We will get under absorption and over absorption. So let's take two situations when actual overheads are how much? 15 lakh. And in second case, actual overheads are 9 lakh. So if actual overheads are 15 lakh and actual overheads are 9. So in first case, my absorbed overhead, that is 12,50,000, is less than 115 lakh. So this is, I hope this part of board is visible. Yes, visible. So this is under absorption. By how much? 2,50,000 rupees. So this is under absorption by 2,50,000 rupees. And when talking about this part, my actual absorbed overhead 2,50,000 is more than my actual overhead 9 lakh. So this is we call as over absorption. By 3 lakh. So herein there is an under absorption of 2,50,000 and herein it's an over absorption of 3,50,000. So this is all what about the concept of under or over absorption of overhead. If you guys have any doubts or queries, then you guys can. Very good, Mr. Om Krishnan. So if you guys have any doubts or queries relating to under absorption or over absorption, sometimes students find it difficult that whether it is under absorption or over absorption. Further, sometimes students, what the students do, they do compare this 10 lakh with 15 lakh and 10 lakh with 9 lakh. This is not the correct approach. The first thing is we have to calculate the absorption rate. Second thing, we have to calculate the absorbed overheads by applying the absorption rate to the actual hours. So we will get the absorbed overheads. And once absorbed overheads are ready, we will compare it with actual overheads to get to calculate the under or over absorption of overhead. If you guys have any doubts, even the students who have joined over the portal, if you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries, I'll be giving you 1 or 2 questions to solve in the live session. So first of all, whatever the queries you have, you guys can please post. And further, I request you to copy this explanation. It's the easiest way. I mean, it's the easiest explanation to under or over absorption of overhead. So please copy this part. Please copy this example, and then I'll give you 1 or 2 questions to test that whether you are thorough with the concepts or not. So giving you 2 minutes time, guys, 2 to 3 minutes time to copy this explanation. Again, do write what I'm teaching in class. It's not कि वापस recorded session check कर लेंगे. Every time it's practically not possible to check the recorded session. So do write when I'm saying that do copy this part. So please, giving you 3 to 4 minutes time, please copy this explanation. So now a question for you guys. Let's say my budgeted overheads are 12 lakh. Budgeted hours is 3 lakh. Actual labor hours are 2 lakh 50,000. And my actual overhead is 9 lakh 80,000. You guys have to calculate the under or over absorption of overhead. And further, you have to post the final answer, that is under absorption or over absorption, and the amount. So waiting for your answers, guys. It's a very easy question, so waiting for your answers. Those who are viewing over YouTube or portal can post the answers over the portal also. So I've got answer. I've got answer from Om Krishnan, Shoaib. Anyone else waiting for your answers? I've got answer from Kavita. I've got answer from Sayan Kumar Das. Rest everyone waiting for your answers. Those who are viewing over YouTube or portal can post your answer over the portal. Still, someone are posting over absorption, some are posting under absorption. Yes. Ayushi Mehta, Mr. Abdan, Sanatan Bishwas, Mallu, Divya Verma, Srinivasan, waiting for your answers. Liana Das. Still, you are not thorough with the concepts. Again, I repeat, guys. First of all, the budgeted overheads are 12 lakh and budgeted hours are 3 lakh. So we will first calculate the absorption rate. That is rupees 4 per hour. So the first step is we will calculate the absorption rate. Now thereafter we'll calculate the absorbed overheads. It will be 10 lakh. Now compare absorbed overheads with actual overheads. So my absorbed overheads are 10 lakh and actual overheads are 9 lakh 80,000. So absorbed overheads are more, it means over absorption. So Ayushi Mehta, incorrect answer. It is over absorption, not under absorption. Sayan Kumar, again it is over absorption. Kavita, it is over absorption. Still, you guys are not thorough with the concepts. How come it is under absorption? It is over absorption of overhead, Ayushi. I'm not receiving any messages over the portal. Admin sir, are you there? Admin sir, are you there? Admin sir, I'm not getting any messages over portal. I request few of you guys just to post a normal message over portal, because I think Swati has just messaged that I have posted through portal. Let me check Kavita. I think Kavista is also trying to post the answers. Admin sir, are you there? I'm not getting any messages over portal. Let me check. I'll fix up during the break. Anyways, one more question for you guys. For the students who have posted incorrect answer, one more question for you guys. So let's say my budgeted overheads are 12 lakh. Waiting for your answers, guys. You have to post the final answer. You have to calculate under or over absorption of overhead. Let me check Swati once again. I'm not getting any messages over portal. Even I'm surprised today. We'll try to fix up during the break. Anyways, waiting for your answers, guys. So I've got answer from Swati, over absorption, under absorption from Mallu, Om Krishnan, over absorption. Rest all waiting for your answers. Just tell me the final amount also, guys. Mallu Jadar, why it is under absorption? Liana Rias, Mr. Srinivasan, I request you guys to post your answers. So when talking about this question, this information is irrelevant. It is just to confuse you guys. So herein, the absorption rate is how much? Rupees 2. Absorbed overheads We have calculated the absorption rate is as per labor hours. So absorbed overheads will also be calculated as per labor hours only. So you'll get absorbed overheads 10 lakh and my actual overheads are 8,20,000. So herein my absorbed overheads are more. So it is over absorption by 1,80,000. Mr. Jadar, I request you please focus. If the absorbed overheads are more, it is over absorption. If absorbed overheads are less, it is under absorption. Very good, everyone. So done with under and over absorption of overheads. Now let's start with the treatment of see, as I said, meaning and treatment of under or over absorption. So the meaning part is clear. That is what is under and over absorption of overhead. Now let's start with the treatment of under or over absorption of overhead. Now, if the difference, that is, if the under absorption and over absorption is of a very small amount or a nominal amount, if the under or over absorption is of a very small amount or a very nominal amount, then transfer under oblique over absorption to costing P&L. Transfer under oblique over absorption to costing P&L. Further, if under oblique over absorption is of substantial amount, बड़ा अमाउंट आ रहा है, अंडर और ओवर अब्जॉर्प्शन का अमाउंट काफी ज्यादा है. Now check the reason. Check the reason of difference. If it is due to lack of, or we can say if it is due to improper planning, or we can say wrong estimation, or we can say if it is due to abnormal reasons. See the difference, that is the under or over absorption amount is due to these reasons, that is improper planning, wrong estimation, abnormal reasons, or inefficiency. Then what you have to do? Transfer the under or over absorption to costing P&L. So if the difference is due to improper planning, wrong estimation, or we can say abnormal reasons or inefficiency of workers, then it is to be transferred to costing P&L. Or any other case, We can say rise in product prices. We can say inflation. Then we have to calculate the supplementary rate. We have to calculate the supplementary. We have to calculate a supplementary rate, and that rate is used to charge the under or over absorption to. Charge to cost of sales, work in progress, and finished stock. So the concept is very simple when talking about the treatment of under or over absorption of overhead. If it is of a very small amount, transfer it to costing P&L. Further, if it is of a substantial amount and it is due to improper planning or wrong estimations or abnormal reasons or inefficiency, again transfer it to P&L, costing P&L. But if it is due to any other reason, it can be inflation. If it is due to inflation, then we have to calculate the supplementary rate and charge that supplementary rate to cost of sales, work in progress, and closing stock to calculate to inflate or deflate the value for the same. If you guys have any doubts, no worries, Mr. Srinivasan. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries, guys. Admin sir, are you there? Admin sir, are you there? सर द चैट इज नॉट वर्किंग. वो पोर्टल पे जो चैट है वो नहीं वर्क कर रहा है. स्टूडेंट्स आर ट्राइंग टू पोस्ट द क्वेरीज बट आई एम नॉट रिसीविंग एनीथिंग. Revisionary classes PDF, right? Sorry, revisionary classes questions, right? I'm not getting any messages. Yes. नहीं आ रहा है सर. I have received only one message from your end at 9:54. हाँ, पोर्टल की चैट पे. I'm talking about portal only. And it's revisionary classes questions, right? I'm not getting any messages. No, I have not received anything. अब आया है सर आपका. Few students try to put up, but I have not received anything. Anyways, that's okay, sir. Because there are one or two students who message that, sir, we are not being able to post the queries over portal. That's okay, sir. Fine, no worries. So, guys, this is all what about treatment of under or over absorption. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. Further, I request you guys to please copy this explanation. I'll be discussing one or two questions, Shoaib, don't worry. On this part, it's very important. So I'll be discussing one or two questions. Anyone else having any queries? What is under absorption? What is over absorption? The treatment of under or over absorption? You guys can please post your queries. So fine. So let's take a break of 15 minutes. I'll be back after 15 minutes with the practical questions on under or over absorption of overhead. Admin sir, आप break डाल दीजिए ना 15 minutes का. Welcome back, guys. So now let's start with few practical questions from study material for better understanding of the concepts. So I request you guys to please open your study material. I'm discussing practical question number 8, page number 4.73. Practical question number 8, page number 4.73. So let's start with this question. In a manufacturing unit, factory overheads was recovered at a predetermined rate of rupees 25 per man day. So herein, the absorption rate is given, that is rupees 25 per man day. The factory overheads expenses incurred and the man days actually worked are given, that is 41,50,000 are my total factory overheads, actual factory overheads. So actual overheads are also given. Sorry, 41,50,000. And actual man days are also given. Out of 40,000 units produced, 30,000 were sold. So it means 10,000 units are still in stock. On analyzing the reason, it was found that 60% of the under-absorbed overheads were due to defective planning and rest were attributable to increase in overhead cost. Explain how would under-absorbed overheads be treated in cost account. So the question is clearly mentioning that there is an under-absorption still. So we will first calculate the absorbed overheads. Absorption rate is given, actual overheads are given, and actual man days are given. So we will first calculate absorbed overheads. So this will be 1,50,000 into 25. So this will be 37,50,000. Now compare it with actual overhead. So my absorbed overheads are how much? 3750. My actual overheads are how much? 41,50,000. So absorbed overheads are less, so we can call it as under absorption. By how much? 4 lakh. So there is an under absorption of overhead by rupees 4 lakh. Now, It was found that 60% of the under-absorbed overheads were due to defective planning. So 60% due to defective planning. And remaining 40% due to increase in cost. So 60%, that is 2,40,000, we have to transfer to costing P&L. Now remaining 40%, that is 1,60,000, we have to calculate. So how to calculate 1,60,000 divided by, see here in this case, no work in progress is given. So units sold are given and units finished stock is given. See, it is given in the question that out of total 40,000 units manufactured, 30,000 were sold. So it means units sold are 30,000 and units that are still in stock are 10,000. So 30,000 plus 10,000, 40,000, 1,60,000 divided by 40,000. So 4 is my rate. So when talking about the cost of goods sold or cost of sales, it will be increased by 30,000 into 4. That is 1,20,000. And the value of finished stock that is 10,000 will be increased by 10,000 units will be increased by 40. So the value of cost of sales will be increased by 120 and the value of finished stock will be increased by 40,000. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. Waiting for your queries, guys. See, it is given that total 40,000 units were manufactured. In the question, it is given, Divya Verma, that total 40,000 units were manufactured. Of this, 30,000 units were sold. So I have bifurcated that of the total 40,000 units manufactured, 30,000 were sold. So remaining 10,000 are still in stock. So we call it as finished goods or finished stock. Any other query, Divya? Let's discuss one more question. Those who want to copy the presentation part, you guys can please copy. The final answer is there in study material, but the presentation is the key. So if you want to copy this presentation, you guys can please. Let's discuss practical question number 7 from the study material. I request you guys to please refer practical question number 7 of the study material. So let's start with practical question number 7. In a factory, overheads of a particular department are recovered on the basis of rupees 5 per machine hour. I repeat, guys, practical question number 7. In a factory, overheads of a particular department are recovered on the basis of rupees 5 per machine hour. So the absorption rate is available. The total expenses incurred and the actual machine hours for the department for the month of August are 80,000 and 10,000 respectively. Of 80,000, 15,000 became payable due to an award of the labor court and 5,000 was in respect of the expenses of previous year booked in the current month. So again, these expenses are like abnormal expenses or not regular expenses. So we will subtract from the actual overhead. So when talking about the actual overheads, the actual overheads are given as 80,000. Of this, 15,000 will be deducted and 5,000 will be deducted because 15,000 being an abnormal item and 5,000 is not related to current month. So this will be 60,000. Actual hours we have is 10,000 hours. Now, actual production was 40,000 units. Of this, 30,000 units were sold. Sorry. Yeah, actual production was 40,000 units, of which 30,000 units were sold. On analyzing the reason, 60% of the under-absorbed overheads were due to defective planning and rest were attributable to normal cost increase. Show the treatment of under or over absorbed overheads in the cost account. So again, it's a very simple question now. So we will first calculate the under or over absorption of overheads. So we will calculate first the absorbed overheads. And it will be 10,000 hours into 5. That is 50,000. Now, when talking about the under or over absorption, the absorbed overheads are 50,000, actual overheads are 60,000. So it is under absorption. By 10,000. Of this, 60% due to defective planning will be transferred. That is 6,000 to be transferred to costing P&L. And for remaining 40%, that is 4,000, we will calculate the supplementary rate. And here it is given that the actual production of 40,000 units, of which 30,000 units were sold. So 30,000 are the units sold and 10,000 units are still in stock. So 4,000 divided by 40,000, so it will be 0.10 per unit. So when talking about the cost of sales, it will be increased by 30,000 into 0.10, 0.1 in fact. So this will be 3,000, and finished stock value will be increased by 1,000, that is 10,000 into 0.1. A very simple question, an easy question. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. I'm now discussing question number 11. So I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Thereafter, those who are done with the explanation, those who are done with the copying part, refer question number 11 of the study material. Practical question number 11. I request you guys to please refer question number 11 of the study material. I'll be discussing question number 11 only now. Page number 4.75. So ABC Limited manufactures a single product and absorbs the production overhead at a predetermined rate of rupees 10 per machine hour. At the end of current financial year, it was found that the actual production overheads were 6 lakh. It include 45,000 on account of written off obsolete stores, 30,000 being the wages paid for the strike period under an award. So these two are abnormal items. So we have to subtract it. Rest in the remaining part of the question, nothing is given as regards the actual overheads. So when talking about the actual overheads, 6 lakh. Five lakh 25,000. Further, the production and sales data for the current year is as given, wherein finished goods are 20,000. Work in progress is 8,000 units, 50% complete in all respects. And the sale of finished goods is 18,000. The actual machine hours worked during the period is 48,000. So actual hours 48,000. So it has been found that 1/3 of the under absorption of production overhead was due to lack of production planning, and rest were attributable to normal increase in cost. Calculate the amount of under absorption of production overhead during the current year. Calculate the amount of under absorption of production overhead during the current year. further show the accounting treatment of under absorption of production overhead. So now we have the data ready. So let's calculate the absorbed overheads first. $48,000 into 10, this will be 4,80,000. Now we'll calculate the under, see, absorbed overheads are less than actual overheads. So it is by default under absorption only. So this will be 480 minus 525. So this will be 20 plus 25, 45,000. Of this 45,000, it is given that 1/3 of the under absorption of production overhead was due to lack of production planning. So 1/3 is due to lack of planning. So 15,000 rupees transfer to costing P&L. Now remaining 2/3, that is 30,000, we have to calculate the supplementary rate. Now for this 30,000, for supplementary rate calculation, we need finished stock, units sold, and work in progress information is also given. So herein, when talking about the total finished goods manufactured is 20,000, out of this 20,000, 18,000 were sold. So units sold were 18,000. 2,000 is what my finished stock. And see, 8,000 units and they are 50% complete. 8,000 units जो है वो 50% complete हुए. There are 8,000 units which are 50% complete. So we will calculate the equivalent number of units. This concept I'll be discussing in process costing. So 8,000 units that are 50% complete. So this will be 4,000. Let's say if I have 10,000 units and they are 60% complete. So equivalent number of units will be 6,000. If I have 20,000 units, they are, let's say, 40% complete. So equivalent number of units will be 8,000. So if work in progress is given, always remember, if work in progress is given, we always remember we have to calculate equivalent number of units. This part I'll be discussing in process costing also. But as of now, for your reference, whatever the percentage given, multiply and calculate the equivalent number of units. So this will be 4,000. So 30,000 divided by 24,000. It comes to 1.25. This is what my supplementary rate is. So now, my cost of sales will be increased by 18,000 into 1.25. This will be 22,500. My finished stock, that is 2,000. It will be increased by 2,500. And my work in progress. And my work in progress. See, 4,000 units into 1.25. We'll be using this one only. 4,000 units into 1.25. That is 5,000. So this is how the distribution of 30,000 will be done. This 30,000. So if you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. So Cost of sales will be increased by 22,500. Finished stock will be increased by 2,500, and work in progress 4,000 into 1.25. It will be increased by 5,000. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Further, those who have any doubts or queries can please post your queries. Mr. Srinivasan, I think 1252. Sir, can you please explain an example if work in progress is also mentioned in question number 7 or 8? See, I've already discussed a question on work in progress, Mr. Srinivasan. Anyone else? I request you guys to please post your queries if you have any. Okay. Those who want to copy this explanation can please copy first. So now a question from my side. So question from my side now. So now there is a question for you guys. In a company, overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours, wherein budgeted overheads are 50 lakh and the budgeted machine hours are 10 lakh. Actual overheads are 42 lakh. Of this, it includes the following, that is machine repairs, return of obsolete stores, compensation as awarded by court, previous year expenses booked in the current year, and bad debts. Actual hours worked were 7 lakh and it includes 50,000 as paid as overtime hours. On analysis, it was found that 40% of under or over absorption was due to change in inflation and rest was due to lack of proper planning. When talking about the production data and the sales data, finished goods 5,000, of this 3,500 units are sold. Of the work in progress, 2,000 units are 50% complete, 2,000 are 80% complete, and 1,000 are 40% complete. You are required to first post the answer under or over absorption of overheads. Second answer should be supplementary rate. And the third thing will be value of work in progress. Sorry. Third thing will be the adjustment of under or over absorption. So this is the question for you guys. I request you guys to please post your answer. This is to test all your knowledge and skill. So those who want to post answer, just write first and this amount, that is under or over absorption. Second, supplementary rate, and third should be the final adjustment. So waiting for your answers, guys, now. Further, I'm not getting any messages over portal due to some technical glitch, whatever it is. So you can directly post the answers over Zoom. You can join Zoom and you can post the answers. So waiting for your answers now. Let me check, Mr. Srinivasan. I've got answers from Shoaib also. A small change, sorry guys, a small change, it is 6,000. The finished stock is 6,000. Finished goods is 6,000. A small change in the solution to avoid the figures in decimal. The finished goods manufacturers are 6,000. Sorry, let it be. It's 5,000. Okay, finished goods are 5,000 only, sorry. So waiting for your answers now. So Swati, your answer is incorrect. Ayushi Mehta, incorrect answer. Nikhil Shukla, incorrect answer. Om Krishnan, let me check. Areen Jain, let me check. Srinivasan, let me check. Rest all those who have mentioned that your answers are incorrect, please start it again. So Shoaib, your answers are incorrect again. Swati, please check your answers. Your answers are again incorrect. Om Krishnan, your answers are incorrect. Nikhil Shukla, incorrect answer. Ayushi Mehta, incorrect answer. Areen Jain, incorrect answer. So Sayan Kumar Das, waiting for your answer. Mallu Jadar, waiting for your answer. Okay, I've got answer from Sayan. So Kavita Kulla, again incorrect answer. Swati, incorrect answer. So Divya Verma, waiting for your answer. Liana Riaz, Mallu Jadar, Sanatan Bishwas, waiting for your answer. Stick to the concept and try to solve the question. You guys will be able to. It's a very simple question. Those who are getting incorrect answer, mentioning your name. Again, everyone. So Shoaib, incorrect answer. Swati BN, you please check your answer. Nikhil Shukla, incorrect answer. Om Krishnan, incorrect answer. Ayushi, incorrect answer. Areen Jain, incorrect answer. Ayushi Mehta, incorrect answer. Swati, incorrect answer. It's a question from my end, not from your end. I'll post the final answer, Ayushi, don't worry. So final answer waiting. What will be the supplementary rate? Just post the final answer. What will be the supplementary rate? Waiting. Quick. Ayushi Mehta, incorrect answer. Swati, incorrect answer. It's not KBC here. You're posting different answer. Anyways, I really appreciate your efforts. That's okay, Swati. See, I think Swati, you posted 3 answers. 1 second. See, first one is under absorption by 1 lakh. The second one is under absorption by 1,50,000. And third one is under absorption by 3,50,000. So out of these 3 answers, one is correct. So it's a hint for you, Swati. Now try to get the final answer. So out of these 3 answers, one answer is correct. Now you have to post the correct answer. That's it. Om Krishnan, incorrect answer. Shoaib, let me check. Shoaib, let me check. Divya Verma, incorrect answer. Shoaib, incorrect answer. Nikhil Shukla, incorrect answer. So Swati, you have got the options. Option 1, 2, and 3. So you have to post the final answer. So guys, the first part is the absorption rate. So the absorption rate will be 50 lakh divided by 10 lakh, that will be 5. Second one is absorbed overheads. So my actual hours are 7 lakh. It includes 550,000 as an overtime hours. This information is useless. It has nothing to do with the solution. This information is irrelevant for you. So this will be 35 lakhs. Now, very important, the actual overheads includes machine repairs. So the first point is machine repairs are 2 lakh. Anyways, so what's the problem? In fact, the actual overhead should include machine repairs. So this we have to ignore. It has nothing to do with the solution. Anyways, the actual machine repairs are part of actual overheads. But this item, return of obsolete store, this is an abnormal item. So we have to subtract compensation abnormal item. We have to subtract previous year being an abnormal item, being not related to current year, we have to subtract, and bad debts will not form part of cost sheet and will not be treated as overhead, so we have to subtract. So 3 plus 1, 4, plus 1, 5, and 6 lakh. So out of 42 lakhs, we have to subtract 6 lakh. So now we will be getting 36 lakh as my actual overheads. So there is an under absorption, rupees 1 lakh. So there is an under absorption by 1 lakh. So I think Srinivasan was the, yes, Swati, your first answer was right. And Srinivasan also posted the correct answer. Initially only, I think he was the first one to post the correct answer. So there is an under absorption of rupees 1 lakh. Sorry, I think Srinivasan also posted over absorption. No one posted the correct answer. I think few posted the correct answer, but mostly they were not confident. So it is 1 lakh under absorption. Now of this 1 lakh, again there was a bit tricky, bit change in the language. On analysis, it was found that 40% of the under absorbed overheads was due to change in inflation. So 40% we have to calculate the supplementary rate because it is due to inflation. So 4,000, that is, 40,000, we have to calculate supplementary rate, and 60%, that is 60,000, we have to transfer to costing 300. So 40,000, we have to calculate supplementary rate, and remaining 60%, that is 60,000, we have to transfer to costing 300. So this was the second point, that is in every question you have seen that 60% is due to defective planning, 60% is due to so and so, but I have written that 40% is due to inflation, and for inflation only we have to calculate the supplementary rate. So this was the twist. Now, when talking about the calculation of supplementary rate, finished goods are 5,000, 3,500 units are sold. So 3,500 units sold. So remaining 1,500 are finished stock. Plus work in progress, 2,000 units are 50% complete. 2,000 units are 80% complete. And 1,000 units are 40% complete. So this will be my 3,000 will be what? My work in progress. 3,000 will be my work in progress. So finally, we can calculate the supplementary rate, that is 5,000 plus 3,000, 8,000, 40,000 divided by 8,000. So rupees 5 will be my supplementary rate. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your answers. 2 lakh is what my machine repairs, and machine repairs form part of overhead. 2 lakh is what my machine repairs, and it is our indirect expenses, and it will form part of overhead. So the thing is that you have to ignore this 2 lakh. This point is just to confuse you guys. So I hope you guys are thorough with the concept of under or over absorption. One last part is left out, that is calculation of machine hour rate. See, when talking about the calculation of machine hour rate, the concept is very simple, wherein you have to calculate the total cost, that is fixed cost and variable cost, divided by machine hours. So this fixed cost, variable cost, anyways, we will be discussing in service costing. And I just want to cover this point in detail. That's why I have skipped the machine hour rate. So if you guys try to solve the questions of study material and past practice manual, still if you find any sort of difficulty, just mention it in the next session. I'll try to cover your doubts, or else you can write a mail to ICAI. I'll try to cover all your doubts on overheads. Don't worry, guys. There is no complete list, Shoaib. So, very important, guys. Try to solve all the questions of study material, even of the machine hour rate. Also, the questions are very simple. The point is stick to the concept. When talking about the calculation of machine hour rate, first write all the fixed cost, then all the variable cost divided by my machine hours. You will get the machine hour rate. Or fixed cost, you calculate the total divided by my machine hour. We will get the fixed cost per machine hour. And variable cost, you can calculate it on an hourly basis and calculate the total cost. So both the approaches are correct. So no worries, guys. And this concept I'll be covering in detail in service costing. So I didn't cover that part. So I request you guys to be ready for the next session. But yes, please try to solve all the questions of study material and past practice manual. These are the revisionary sessions. So I just want you guys to revise. Along with the classes, I request you guys to revise the questions. Try to solve the questions in writing of study material and past practice manual. Again, there is no alternate of hard work. Try to solve the questions in writing instead of thinking that this I know, this I know, this I know. See, when talking about my sessions, I'm focusing more on writing. See, even every question I have written it over the board. Every question, every solution, I could have referred the material and would have sent the ticket. No, try to solve the questions in writing. There is no alternate of hard work, and this is the best way to memorize the concept and to develop the speed also. So try to solve each and every question in writing of the study material and past practice manual. Whatever the doubts you have, you can write a mail to ICAI. In fact, tomorrow only, I'll try to address each and every query of yours personally within a week only. So thank you so much, guys, for your time and patience. I think I have a session day after tomorrow. So I'll be taking care. I'll be teaching you guys activity-based costing. There is only one session. In fact, one session is more than sufficient. So we'll try to cover a few questions on activity-based costing. So till then, make sure you guys solve each and every questions of study material and past practice manual or past RTPs or MTPs. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Enjoy, guys.
Recording
Admin, sir, done.
stopped.
Admin, sir, done.